Hello everybody, welcome back to Customising Live. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Craig Warrack. I'm a lifelong collector and connoisseur of action figures with a passion for customising them into my own creations. And today I'm going to be customising live. I'm still working on, up here, Ridley from Metroid. And yeah, I'm going to keep working on him. He's getting towards the end point, so here's hoping. Here's hoping we can get them done soon. I've also got Mother Brain happening on the side, and I'll show you where I'm up to with Mother Brain. Mother Brain's a very big thing that's very difficult to work on when I'm on camera, but I'll certainly want to show her off. If you are joining me live, thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you'll chat to me, keep me company, keep me going as I do this for the next hour or however long I'm on here for. And if you're tuning in later, thank you very much for tuning in later. You can fast forward through all this bit. You're much luckier than the live people. Yeah, we've got just a few people here in the chat so far. We've got Vince Canetti, Rosanna Martinez, and we've got Leon Skull Gaming. Leon Skull says, "Hey Craig, sorry I missed the past few. It's been busy, but I rewatched the live streams and they were sick. He is looking great." Thank you very much, Leon. Yeah, thank you for joining me live and for watching back later. Hey, whether you're watching now or watching later, which is now for you, go and hit that like button. It's where is it? It's down there, isn't it? It's down there. Come on, do an old gay a favour. I've got Oz is in the chat as well. Hello, thank you. Good to have you here. He says, "Power on the poor." By the power of poor, he says. That's fine. He must be in the He-Man mood, as aren't we all recently with that He-Man trailer for the new Masters of the Universe Revelations TV show that's coming onto Netflix soon. That'll be good, I hope, don't we? Hello, Zio Adams, good to see you again, and Lidomus Mas. Hi, hello, how are you? Vince says, "Don't mind me, I'm just sipping on milk," and that's milk with a capital M. So is that the drag queen milk? Are you sipping on the drag queen milk? Stop talking rubbish, Craig, said the world. No. We've got Kirk Holland here. Is he drinking again? Is he going to be spamming my chat with drunk nonsense? Let's find out. He says, "I'm pouring the power into a drink. Good morning, afternoon." Well, we'll see how well Kirk's brain cells hold up in this live stream, shall we? Leon Skull says he's looking forward to seeing the finished thing. So let's not really keep Leon Skull Gaming waiting much longer, and let's take a look at what I've got going on my desk. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Et voila. Hi, I'm down here now. So yeah, as you can see, I went in and I painted a lot of Ridley. I just spent an hour or two every night this week trying to get his colours down, and I think it went well. Number one thing I have to show you, number one, it's on both cameras, that's how number one it is that I did the wings. This was something that I said last week that I didn't want to do on camera because I was scared that I would F it up, but I did not, partly because I didn't do it when I was on camera. So what I did was I had the wings, as you know, they were made out of a pair of, what do we call these in America? We call them tights. Will we call them tights? Women's hose? Pantyhose? I don't know. And I used, I airbrushed a mixture of this Liquitex acrylic ink, which is fabric ink. I mixed that together to come up with a nice deep bluish purple, and I just airbrushed that on. And this was my test bit. I was like, oh, I have to test it first, and seemed to go well. So the wings are in the thumbnail. I've already spoiled it for myself. Here they are. So I just got my airbrush and went in along the line of the arm, and when I you see where the fabric naturally tighter, you'll say tighter, Craig, tighter. So I just kind of stretched it out where it was all kind of puckering. I stretched it and sprayed in there, and then kind of drew a couple of lines and then let it go, and it kind of creates a nice effect, I think. So I did that on the front and of course on the back as well. And I did that before I painted the arms, because if I painted the arms and then went in with the airbrush over all this would end up all dark purple as well. So yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah, I'm happy with how the wings have come out. They're still flexible, they still move around, as you see, still posable. That was really the goal. So I'm happy with how these have come out. For the moment, there's still plenty of time for them to explode into a shower of parts and completely ruin my life, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. I did consider, and I'm still considering, do I tatter them a bit? Don't really think so. Do I like use hot glue and put a couple of little veiny parts on? Don't think so. I don't want to risk it because I like it where it's at, and I don't want to, you know, if I do it, I can't take it back. So I'm kind of happy with where it's at the moment. So yep. What else have we got? So yeah, I've painted the rest of him. You'll see from I've just gone with this sort of pinkish purple color scheme for Ridley, along with sort of these to draw in the color of his wings, this sort of wine color. I've just sort of used that at various points along the sculpt as well, just to give it some variation. The Ginger Knot says, incredible work, thank you very much. Everyone else is just talking complete crap, so have a party, guys, why not? Go on Grindr or something, leave my chat alone. But yes, I've also been working on the rest of Ridley, so you'll see I've carried that colour scheme across to the rest of them, with the purple and the pink. It took me a lot of back and forth to get the right type of purple. It was too pinkish, it was too dark, so just to try to find what I liked. And then the pink as well came out too pink, and then not pink enough, and all this other stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy with how he's coming out. I went in and I actually sculpted with epoxy putty the eye. It was something I didn't do in the digital sculpt, and I was kind of like, should I do it? I'm not sure. And I just left it, but I've just sculpted in some eyes now, because I did try and paint I just hit it with a bit of white to see what it would look like, and it really didn't stand out enough. So I went in and sculpted the eyeball, and I'll be painting that. My plan for today is to paint the sort of bone protrusions along his head, and maybe get to the claws, different little details like that, and maybe the eye. So yeah, and like I say, the paint scheme is just carried over to the rest of his body. And on one of my earlier live streams, I kind of experimented with a metallic airbrushing. and I kind of liked it when I did it, but then, you know, I left it a few days and went back and I was like, I don't like it. So I've not gone with that route at all. He's just purely painted with the standard flat matte acrylics. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess I shall just carry on with painting. Oh, do I show Mother Brain now or do I show her later? Well, we'll take a look at her later. I want to get some of Ridley done. I don't want to spend so long at the start of every one of these just talking and talking and talking. So why don't we get to some painting? So like I said, I'm going to be painting the bone protrusions on Ridley, and I'm going to be using Citadel Colour contrast paints. I've used them before on this stream when I was experimenting with Ridley's purples. So I'm going to be using, they do a good job here, they put white text on a white thing. This is Citadel Colours Base Wraithbone, not Basil Rathbone, Base Wraithbone. And I'm going to be covering that with Skeleton Horde. It should be straightforward to get this kind of dirty bone look. So let's see how we go. I've got my wet palette here, my homemade wet palette. So I'm just going to be, on all of these bone parts, I'm just going to be laying down a base coat of this Wraithbone, and then going over it with the Skeleton Horde colour. So I'm just trying to find my camera. There we go. So how is everyone today? I have the week off from work, this coming week off from work. So kind of happy about that. I'm hoping that I can get these guys, Ridley and Mother Brain, pretty much out the door during that week, but you know, sometimes when I have time off, I like to do things other than what I would do when I'm working, and customizing is kind of something that I tend to do. I try and do for a couple hours after work in the evening. So I don't know whether I'll be doing that. Cold Fact, hello, says, oh my god, I haven't watched you in years. I love the channel, mate. Swarm Custom is a classic. Thank you very much. Which one? I've done two now. I feel like I did one on the 10th anniversary of the first one. 5th year anniversary of the first one. Anyway, my most recent one is one of my favourite customs I made. I know I don't like to have customs, but the whole idea behind making the newer Swarm custom was to, you know, when people who exercise or work out, they like to take progress photos to show what they used to look like and what they look like now. That was kind of what I wanted to do with Swarm. I mean, Cold Fact is saying the original is the one that's a classic, I agree. But I wanted to have that contrast between what I could do back then and what I could do when I made the new one. So that was really an interesting project to see the difference between the two. And to go, oh yeah, okay, well, I guess you do get better as time goes by. Also, where have you been for years? Not watched me in years. So you haven't missed anything. I've done one video since then. I made half a custom and I've done one video. Sorry if I'm just focusing in a little on the little details here. Something I haven't quite decided is whether I'm going to give Ridley, make Ridley's teeth like the same purple as the rest of them. I think maybe the top ones I'll make like, what I want to say, like ivory coloured teeth, and the bottom might just be purple, just part of his beak kind of thing. It's kind of the opposite of what I did with Bowser, I think. Bowser had just a beak on the top and like a lizardy jaw with teeth on the bottom. It's maybe the opposite. Oh, Mark Takasiri says, always a sign of a good custom when, as of yore, you appreciate a figure or character you know nothing about. I know nothing about Metroid, but this custom figure is great. Thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of the action figure community don't seem to, there's not a huge amount of crossover with video games, which I guess doesn't surprise me, because if you look at a lot of kids stop playing with toys when they get into they stop playing with action figures when they get into video games. So you can kind of see that that's a transition that happens, and it's kind of rare that they both run parallel. Particularly with something like Metroid, which is maybe a little, strangely enough, less well known for some unknown reason, despite being like a legendary series and great game. I'll also do his eye while I'm here. While I have the paint out, I might as well slap his eye. His eye is just going to be plain white. My other video game customs all have plain white eyes. Bowser and Ganon, my other video game customs, the two of them, they all have just a plain white eye. And that's partly to do with the size of them. I've probably explained it before 100 million times, but with a big figure, the eye line, what it's looking at when you pose it, can be difficult. If you pose it with small figures, it has to be kind of looking down. If you just have it in, but if you just have it like on a shelf, you want it to be looking out. So while the head articulation can kind of take care of that, the blank white eye kind of masks where its eye line is and makes that like not a concern. So that's kind of why I do that with the bigger figures. Also because who enjoys painting eyes? If you can dodge it, do it. Kenta Krustovsky, hi Kenta, says, have you ever experimented with Pearl X pigments? It's a fine coloured powder you can mix with brush on acrylics to give them a metallic shimmer. No, I haven't. But thank you for the heads up. I can look into that later. might be useful for Mother Brain if it's something I can look into for her electronic parts. Kurt Collins says, so having a staycation then, Craig? Also, that post custom is my favourite of your work. Wow, that was that the last commission I ever did? Perhaps. Post. Vince says, my favourite is the Apocalypse custom. These are things I don't have anymore. Apocalypse, that was the Secret Santa one, wasn't it? Yeah, he was a good one. What else? I'm just waiting for this to dry off a bit so I can spin it over and do the other side. I could do other parts, but you know, dragging my heels, gonna have a cup of tea. Cold Fact says, I truly do miss watching yours and Glenn's videos. I have to check out your new vids. Thank you. As I just slurp this. Stephen Watson says, your Doom figure and diorama with Doom bots and Lucia von Bardus are my fave. Thank you very much. They're still behind me. At least Doom is. Lucia and the bots are in the drawer. But Doom and his throne room are pride of place back there. Behind me there. Vince says, my favourite thing to do in my free time is to watch your live stream while I work on my Lego MOCs. You'll have to explain what those are to me, Vince. I'm interested to know. Jedi5 says, do you seal the paint as you go? Or do you wait until it's all done? Depends. This whole seal, people tend to use this word seal. Do you seal stuff? And it's kind of like, well, what you mean varnish? Like, varnish is an easier way to talk about it, really. Seal is like a pretentious kind of thing that people keep talking about. It's kind of throws people off. I will hit things. A lot of model paints actually are formulated with some form of finish in them, so that they, you know, they auto level or they are hard wearing. So you don't, unlike like you know, like watercolor paints or acrylic paints that you may paint a two-dimensional thing with, which aren't formulated for that finish. They're not meant to be handled, so they don't have that formula. Model paints are often formulated to be handled, so you don't always have to finish them or varnish them or seal them. You don't always have to. So I only tend to do it when I want to change the finish of the paint. If the paint is very kind of maybe flat, chalky, and I want it to be shiny, then I will put on, say, a satin or gloss varnish onto it to change that finish. Also, if the paints have lots of different finishes and I want to, you know, it doesn't quite look like it all belongs together, you can hit it with a finish and it unifies, it brings together all the pieces into a unified piece that looks like it all belongs together. So that's when I tend to use something. It's not really for the protecting the paint from rubbing off on people's fingers, because model paint really shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, a lot of the time I'll use a gloss finish if I want things to look wet. So probably Mother Brain's it's a brain, it's going to be a thing, or like the inside of Ridley's mouth, you know, these kind of things. Those will be things where I want there to be a different finish, and that's where a sealer or a varnish will come in. What else are people saying? Mark Tac says, Craig, do you think more companies should do more video game action figures? I know NECA, McFarlane and Jazzwares are doing them at the moment. I'm not sure they sell. I would love to see them. But I just don't think they sell in the numbers that make it worthwhile. And it's really, I think video game people are perhaps not very tactile, or they don't, you know, they don't need, it's not something they're into. they're not tactile in their enjoyment of that property. So I don't think it's really worthwhile doing more video game things, unless it's like really, really high profile, like Mario, Nintendo stuff, that has a wide, broad appeal for children and whatever. But I just don't think it makes sense. And also, they're more inclined to get in, rather, like, action figures are kind of like, they're just like a piece of merchandise for a video game. And when it comes to merchandise, you're better off just doing like a non-posable statue or a Funko Pop or something like that. Like something that people can just go, oh, that's fine, I'll pay $5 on that and I'll stand that on my shelf next to my games. They're not going to get a lot of value out of paying at least 4 times the price to have a posable action figure. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense to people? So yeah, I don't think it's really worthwhile. And certainly from the video game figures that I've done of Ganon and Bowser, the feedback has kind of been, people are interested to see the design. They treat it almost like a drawing. They're not really interested in it as an action figure. They don't really care how it moves or if it can do this or if it can do that. The action figure people are interested in. They're just like, it's almost like it's just like a 3D sculpture or a drawing, and a piece of merchandise that they can own. Like, it being an action figure is kind of irrelevant or just of no interest to them. At least that's kind of the feedback. Like, I've really found any feedback on my action figure stuff about the action figure aspects of it. But I would like to see, I just like there to be more variety in action figure properties out there. Sorry, I'm masking what I'm doing. Tesco hot salsa. I don't know if that makes sense, what I'm saying. I don't even know what I've said now. I've already forgotten. Vince Canetti says, Lego mocks mean my own creations. Gotcha, I love you. Thank you for explaining that. I shall try and remember. John Strand, hello John, how are you? Says, I love the detail in the pink flesh parts. Yeah, I struggled with them for a long, long time. There was several attempts at being too light, too dark, too pink, too high contrast, and then we're doing a wash on it and all this sort of stuff. So that one should be bone as well. Mark Tac says, I'm hoping Hasbro goes some way to breaking the mold with their Fortnite figures so that we get a few waves of those. They look great, hopefully bridging the gap between action figures and games. Yeah, I don't know that Fortnite is its own unique property, kind of like Minecraft as well. I don't know if they really speak. Again, I think that's like a merchandise driven thing. It's not, I don't think, it's strange that the Fortnite figures are so out there with so many different companies. I don't really understand it. And yet, I'm never sure if they are peg warming or if they just sell really well, so they stock them high. But yeah, whenever I see, like, I go into Smith's and I see kids with their parents, the kids don't really seem to be interested in the action figures. They just seem to be interested in anything their pocket money can afford from that property. So just merchandise. Carl M is just checking in with his yearly suggestion of a Shatra figure. Oh, all's well, Craig. Thank you, Carl. She's always on the list. You know that. Shathra's always there, hanging about, buzzing around the spider wasp. She's always there. Vince Canetti says, imagine if NECA made Five Nights at Freddy figures. No. All I see at Target is effing Fortnite figures, says Jedi 5. Yeah, they're everywhere. Like I say, I don't know whether that means they sell well or they don't sell at all. I have no idea. I do like the figures. Like, I've bought a couple and been like, hey, these are cool figures. No attachment to the property whatsoever. I can appreciate the figures are quite cool. Kurt Collins says the video game producers aren't toyetic, unlike the 80s, early 90s properties. I think video game properties aren't toyetic. Yeah, I mean, some of them really are. Like, I'm always surprised that, like, things like Mega Man never really got a great toy line like it did in Japan. It's had several focused at kids with like interchangeable parts, and he gets this power and this thing, you buy this bolt on, this accessory pack with a little villain. I was like, why is that not a thing? So yeah. Oh, I didn't paint his other eye, did I? I mean, I take it people have done the market research and just think it's not worth it, you know? Or maybe the brand, the Capcom or whoever is just asking for too much for the property. I mean, the Street Fighter figures were big when Sota did them. Really not good when NECA did them though. When they did those Street Fighter 4 figures, woof. Woof. Gross. Now, the idea behind this contrast paint is that you just put it on top of the Wraithbone colour that I've put down, and it should do all the shading work for you. That's, of course, that's how they sell it, right? Christopher says, I think it's less of a lack of toyeticness and more the demographic. Most big game franchises target adults, so toy lines aren't their primary focus. That's quite true, yes. Although when we talk about like big game franchises, I guess that's like kind of, but how do I want to say? Action figures. I feel that the market for action figures in video games is kind of been parallel in that they have both grown up. Like it's the same bunch of people divided in two. Like there's some people who are middle aged over here who are into video games and they're into more adult video games or whatever. They're all about dads, God of War, and everything's a dad and kid thing. And then there's toy lines on this side. Yeah, not sure. Carl M says, we'll be back to watch the rest later. Off to enjoy the sun while it's here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Craig. Enjoy yours too. I'll see you. I'll be here saying hi to you when you get back. Raincrawler says, really appreciate all the info that you add to your workshop videos, like the Kang and Doctor Strange videos. Learn a lot of the characters from another point of view. Thank you so much. Really informative. Thank you. They're very difficult to make and time consuming, but I enjoy watching them back myself later. I go, oh, okay, so that's where I was. I understand that. So yeah, I enjoy them too, but they are just a lot of work. So I'm just putting on this skeleton horde color. We'll see what happens. It's supposed to handle itself. I'll have to tidy up the purple a bit. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of put a blob on my brush and put it at the bottom. Oh, hello. And kind of put it at the bottom of the bone bit. Kind of get all the blob there and then drag it up. So it's maybe a bit darker at the bottom. Citadel bottles are just a nightmare. Sailor Moon, hi. In the name of the moon, I enjoy the shine. I enjoy the shine of your lovely, beautiful bald head. Much love. Thanks, Sailor Chan. Carl M said, oh no, I read that already. Bye, Carl, piss off. Mark Tactac says, I think you make a valid point about video game action figures, Craig. I know exactly how to play with my Marvel Legends or G.I. Joe Classified, but I struggle to know what to do with Jazzware's Fortnite. Yeah. that's I just, yeah, like I buy the figures and I'm like, this is a cool figure, that's cool accessories. I'm like, now, like, what is this? I don't know how to pose it. Like, is this an aggressive character? Is he Fae, or how did, like, I just don't know anything. Just Fern says, as someone who loves games and action figures, I'm inclined to agree. I just think that most action figure makers are going to go after franchises that can sell to kids, at least somewhat. Yep. Christopher says, again, hence the focus on franchises like Fortnite, where when we talk games and action figure lines. Kirk Collins says, Warrack is the Bob Ross of action figures. It's my lovely full head of hair, isn't it? Chris comes back with, I'm not necessarily saying it's the correct approach, but if we've learned anything about action figure companies over the years, it's that they tend to be old-fashioned in their thinking. Yeah, they're also really, really money-focused. Like, really, like, we will make the most basic thing and sell it to suckers. Consumerism. John Strand says, I just wanted to announce that I prepped half a figure last night. My return is cemented. It can still go all wrong, John. Don't count your chickens. Is that how it is? Yeah, something like that. Sailor Moon says, how long is this project taking you? A piece of string. It's up to this date. When did I start this? Someone will have to go back on my my Instagram and see when I started doing Ridley. Sailor Moon says, also, have you seen the Netflix He-Man reboot? I don't think it's out yet. I saw a trailer or something with like Bonnie Tyler playing over the top of it. It looked fine, but you know, I don't judge, I don't put any weight in trailers whatsoever. You can make Mary Poppins look like a horror movie. You can do anything with a trailer. Trailers don't tell us shit. So I don't put any weight in it. I do love He-Man. I love the original Filmation series and the original toy line. Have great memories of them both. Haven't been too into the reboots or the whatever the other series they've done. You know, they were all right. But yeah, I like the balance of sort of camp and stupidity in the original. Like, it was knowing, like, it wasn't a stupid thing. It had very good stories, great morality tales told for children. I think I love that kind of thing, and I hope it doesn't become too much for an older audience. Like, I do appreciate, like, the child, you know, almost, you know, and it's not all like stupid morality tales. Some of it was like the things they said at the end of the episodes were quite you know, if an adult ever touches you inappropriately, remember always go and tell a teacher. I'm like, what? These are proper things that they're telling children. It's not like, hey kids, always, you know, stay in school, and you know, it's like, you know. So I really enjoyed He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as a kid. Okay, those are coming out quite nice. I'm quite liking the tone of them and everything, and a bit of the contrast that it gives the head. So I'm into that. I think I'll do the teeth next, but I've been on here 45 minutes and I haven't shown any of Mother Brain yet. So let's take a look at that Psycho Brain. Put you over here if you don't mind, Ridley. So I'm just catching up in the comments. Right, okay. Now this was something I struggled with last week. How do I show Mother Brain? Because she's a little large. Hi. So she's over here. Let me see what I can do. Oh. Am I blurry or is there just... I don't know. There's just a lot of spooge all over my camera or something. Here she is. Getting a lot of reflection of yourselves in this, but so this is Mother Brain so far. I'll bring the other camera down so we can get a better look at her, it, they, them. Other camera down, right. I need to be able to see it, so let's go. Oh, it's a good angle. Right, Mama Brain, let's bring you down. And we'll go out wider. Good. So, kind of difficult to make out what's going on here. It's not painted at all, but this is where I'm at with Mother Brain. So, there's... What have I done since last we saw each other? So, I'm kind of putting it all together now. So I've, I was showing the eyeball last week, and I've added in some tubes going from the like the eye into the brain and from the brain into the mouth. So I've added some of that detail in there. And you'll see inside the case as well, I've also 3D printed these sort of bubbles. That's just one set of them. I'm going to put them at other places, but I have to fit everything else in and then fit the bubbles around them. So they're only on one side at the moment. And the you'll see around the sides, going from the top to the bottom, I've got this series of pipes, and these are like little homages to in Metroid, in the battle with Mother Brain, Samus has to fight through these several layers of these sort of pipes with these red sort of sections in the middle of them that she has to blast her way through and then go through. So I just wanted to include those as something. And what I also wanted to do was kind of have not for it just to be a case with a brain inside, like the pipes come, they come from the outside and they go inside and they connect the top to the bottom. I didn't want it to be base, jar, lid. I didn't want that, so I wanted it to be linked and go through itself. So that's kind of what I came up with as how to do that. So yeah, we've got the pipes running from so this was very difficult measurement wise when I was like designing this in 3D, coming up with a way to, because it's not a single piece that sort of goes through the thing. It's like this is a separate piece, this is a separate piece, that's a separate piece, the inside is a separate piece, and there's just little holes drilled through, and they're sort of held together with cocktail toothpicks at the moment, cocktail sticks. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. And so yeah, so there's lights in the top and in the bottom. As wide as it goes. So I'm not sure what color the lights will be yet. Like I've put them on red mode at the moment, this pulsing red. which seems to suit it fine while it's grey, but when it's actually painted, I'm not sure if like there'll be a different, you know, maybe a different combination of colours might be good. Really not sure. Or just have a pure mental rave party. Like I say, not too sure what's best. I think the red pulsing one is kind of working for me at the moment. But yeah, I could set them to different ones, like have a different combination of them. So yeah, I'm not sure what the final thing is going to look like, but it's coming together. And it, like as you can see, it's a big thing. 6-inch figure next to it. It's big. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with how this is turning out. It's been a very different experience for me to do this, to sort of design something in 3D and print out. It's more design and engineering than it is like artistic customizing that I'm used to, where I can kind of like do something, if it doesn't work I can easily redo it. This is like planning ahead and really trying to make sure that it all comes together. So yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm going to add in more bubbles, and then once it all kind of fits together, once it all kind of fits together, I'm going to take it all apart and paint it, and we'll see what it looks like when it's painted. So yeah, that's Mother Brain. That's where she's at. I didn't want to leave her completely off, because it's been taking up a lot of my time. So I didn't want to just have her not mentioned at all in this stream, but I'm not working on her in this stream. We'll focus on Ridley for the time being. Looks awesome, says the Ginger Nut. Thank you very much. Love the bubbles. Thank you. They turned out okay. I wasn't too sure how that was all going to work, but luckily it panned out in the end, and they look much better inside the case than they do when they got the light on them, than just when they were outside. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's coming out. I want to go back. I'm just looking at Ridley from another angle and seeing that I've missed the underside of his what are we calling these bones? Righty, I was going to do his teeth, but I might do his claws actually. Maybe more interesting to give his claws a go. Kirk Holland asks, who is your favourite Muppet, Craig? I don't really have one, to be honest. Not that huge a fan of the Muppets. I really like the art of the Muppets, like the technical know-how, the skill, the sort of cinema magic of the Muppets, but I can't say that I find them remotely amusing. You know, they're not very they're not funny. That's, you know, they're just not funny. I feel a bit like the kid in The Emperor's New Clothes sometimes with the Muppets. Like, I know they're huge part of culture and whatever, but you know when something's meant to be funny and it just isn't, and it's just awful? That's kind of where I'm at with the Muppets. So actually, other things that aren't supposed to be pure comedy, with from Jim Henson's Creature Workshop or Jim Henson's production studios, work a lot better for me. Things like Fraggle Rock, The Storyteller, even Sesame Street, like, I appreciate a lot more than the Muppets themselves. So yeah, I don't have a favourite Muppet per se. How about yourself? If I was forced to choose one, I would probably say Janice. Kurt Collins says, "What is funny to you?" That's hard, you know. Let me think of things that I've watched recently that I thought were funny. I like 30 Rock, The Golden Girls, Schitt's Creek was funny. I liked The Good Place. I'm trying to think of other things. I wonder if I should do that. Yeah, I'll do that bit as well. What else was funny? Alan Partridge, Blackadder. The Naked Gun is really funny. Oh, I love strangely, I love Married with Children. I love really dark comedy, and I think Married with Children is so funny just because it's a collection of people that absolutely hate each other and have no respect for each other, and are just horrible to each other all the time. I just find it's so funny. And it's also so basic and stupid. Like, it doesn't pretend to be clever or anything, and yet it can be. I tend to not like things where there's like a bunch of characters that are supposed to be so cool, or you're supposed to want to be one of, or something like that. I don't really like that kind of thing. I think that was a thing with a lot of American comedies. There was always like this. There was a character that the audience was supposed to like want to be and was supposed to look up to, and it was like the coolest person. But I kind of like the losers in comedies. Kirk Holland, ever seen Death to Smoochie? No. It's rare that I watch a comedy movie, to be honest. I'm not, yeah. Although What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, was great. I wasn't such a huge fan of the TV show, but the movie was great. Mark Tactic says 30 Rock is great, Craig. Absolutely. It's one of my favourite TV shows ever. I really love it. Shadow Fox Cosplay says, hey Craig, sorry I'm late. I've been busy working on cosplay stuff. I'd be interested to see what are you making at the moment, and do you have it on your YouTube channel? Is it something we can go and check out? John Strand says, do you like stoner comedy? Workaholics is funny because of how absurd it is. I don't like stoner comedies. I'm very I've never related to those type of characters. Like, I don't drink or don't do anything like that, so and I've always kept away from those, tried to keep away from those type of people, just because I just don't vibrate on their level. So those type of comedies I'm not particularly into. What can I say? Like, I don't know if you've seen 30 Rock, but like Liz Lemon is kind of my spirit animal. She's kind of that uptight person who always wants to be doing the right thing and to be seen to be doing the right thing, but is actually, quite selfish and, just as bad as everyone else. That's kind of me. So, like, imagine any scene ever. I'm the Liz Lemon in that situation. I'll be going home early. I've lost. I can't see now. Married with Children was one of the best shows, says Christopher. Al and Marcy's interactions were among the best, not to mention Al's customer interactions in the shoe store. Yeah, I mean, even like Marcy, of course, was in Fright Night as well, which is one of my favourite horror movies ever. But Marcy, such a, just their interactions, like you're saying, was great. But even, like, I'm so basic in my taste in comedy that I think it was so funny that when she remarried, her name was Marcy Darcy. Like, that is just the most, like, throwaway, stupid little joke thing ever. But for some reason, it's completely hilarious to me because it's just so stupid, and it just automatically, like, deflates that character's sense of importance, that she just has such a stupid name. I don't know why I just went, and I mean, Peggy's maiden name was Wanker. Like, she came from Wanker County. Like, it's just like absolutely stupid stuff like that. I will find that funny for some reason, because it's so absurd. It's so like childish. It's like a primary and elementary school kid would come up with that kind of thing, and yet there it is. I'm just so into it. I just like the Christmas episode of Married with Children, where there's the mall is doing a skydiving Santa promotion at Christmas, and he's gonna like parachute down and hand out presents, but his parachute doesn't open and he plummets to his death into the Bundy's backyard, and they keep all the presents. It's this horrible tragedy. And the Christmas episode actually had a warning up the front to say this is a very Bundy Christmas, it's going to be horrible. It's just like, oh my god, these people, they're so awful. But you kind of root for them. Yeah. Mark Tac says, I'm part of a film chat group, Craig, and I watched a really wonderfully bleak movie for the characters involved called Humour Me. I've not heard of that. When it comes to movies, I almost stay exclusively to horror movies. I know what I'm getting into. And they can be quite imaginative sometimes. They can also be as supremely unimaginative as you want. But horror movies tend to be low. They have low budgets with kind of high concepts, or they have to realize difficult things on a low budget. Like a comedy movie kind of has to, well, you just pay for the actors and the sets. There's very little like special effect. There's not a lot of challenge in the how do we cinematically make this appear. Whereas horror movies, like the gore effects, that kind of thing. So there's kind of the craft. I know in comedy there's a craft to the timing and how you edit it and all that, you know. But the craft of making special effects happen is more interesting to me. Like, and when it comes to a monster, you have to design that, like, even if you're going to just have like a slasher, what have they chosen them to look like? Like, there's a design element to it. So there's a creative sort of side to horror movies that I find much more fascinating than any other really genre of movies. And it's so that element can be missing from other things, like comedies or dramas or whatever. Action movies, like the superhero movies, they also have that element of the design in that, but they also have enormous budgets. So the craft is almost like the how do we do this isn't really an element of it. It's more, what are we going to do? Okay, well, we'll just throw hundreds of people and loads of money at it until it appears the way we want it. So I like the sort of craft, special effects side of horror movies. That's why I go in for it. But Mark Tak explains that Humour Me has Elliot Gould telling loads of crap dad jokes which are actually funny. I don't really know Elliot Gould, to be honest. I don't know who that is. Sorry. Shadow Fox Cosplay says, I do have pictures up on my Twitter. As for YouTube, no, not yet, because I'm not ready to do a face reveal, lol. Put your cosplay mask on. One film I love, says Mark Tak, is Hot Rod. It's very weird and silly, but I love it. Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one either. I'm sorry, I'm crap here. Kurt Collins says Child Play versus Problem Child 2. That would be good. Christopher says, one of my favourite Easter eggs in Modern Family is that Ed O'Neill's character is still reading the same newspaper he read every day on Married with Children. I only watched one episode of Modern Family. Didn't get into it for some reason. Shadow Fox Cosplay says, are you excited for Venom 2 this September? Nope, I haven't even seen Venom 1. So I'm still waiting for King in Black to finish in the fucking comics. Is it finished yet? I don't know. As a comic reader, when these movies come out, the comics often do a big push in advance of putting those characters into the comics. So by the time the movie comes out, I'm so overexposed to the characters that I don't want to see a movie about them. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this guy. I don't want to see it anymore. Go away. I don't want to watch your movie. Leave me alone. But I don't think I've even watched the trailer for Venom 2. I did a podcast with John Strand and Customs by Matthew. It wasn't a podcast. It was on. It was a live stream on Stranded Customs YouTube channel, and had a lot of fun on it. And we were predicting whatever San Diego Comic-Con reveals for action figures, and got none right, but that's neither here nor there. But the way they explained the Venom movie as being more like the Fantastic Four movie, the first one, not the first one, the Jessica Alba one, the Ewan Griffith one, as being more like that than anything else, which kind of made it appeal to me, because I kind of love how totally camp and crap that Fantastic Four movie is. I especially like the second one. Like, I earnestly like the second one. Not even unironically or ironically. Like it. I think it's good. What was I going to say? Yeah. So they explained it that way, and it made maybe I should watch it. Nah, I don't know. Alexander Musaeus says, "Oh, first time catching this live, at least as far as I'm aware. It is live. I'm saying your name right now. And let me just say, I love what you have done so far. Thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot. And thank you for joining me live. Thank you for watching the others not live. Every view helps. When the views stop, so do these." I have to say, these haven't been these customizing lives haven't been a huge success. I'm not sure if I'm doing them at the wrong time, or if people are just not particularly interested, which is fine, you know, fair enough. But yeah, they haven't been a huge roaring success, but they're low maintenance enough for me to be able to just like sit down for an hour or so every Saturday at whenever, and just chat to people as I do some of this stuff, which I would normally probably be doing anyway. It does mean I need to clean my desk, which is a pain in the ass every Saturday morning, but that needs to happen too. So yeah. So yeah, having the views, like every view does help me keep this going. Good. Kirk Holland says, "Craig, what's your favourite book, or just the first you remember fondly?" I'm not big on reading, to be honest. I have very little patience for it. My favourite book, I like Salem's Lot, I guess, would maybe be Skeleton Crew is probably better than Salem's Lot. Stephen King, I like short stories, so my favourite short story is maybe Jerusalem's Lot, not Salem's Lot, but Jerusalem's Lot. That's maybe my favourite, and I also like The Cycle of the Werewolf, the novella. The Mist is really good, obviously. But yeah. Chris Fern says, "I love Woody Harrelson, but I really don't know that I'm sold on him as Cletus Cassidy." We'll see, whatever. And A Lone Wolf says, "You ever watch a film called Humanoids from the Deep, Craig?" Yes, isn't that, what's his name? It's not Troy, Doug McClure. Troy McClure, almost said. Doug McClure is that. It's mostly naff, but there's a scene at the end involving her birth that'll give you nightmares. Don't give me nightmares. Humanoids from the Deep. It's a Roger Corman B movie from the late 60s. Total schlock, fishmen raping women on a beach and impregnating them with fish babies. Schlocky. Some good gore effects, and if you're into that, then I guess it will appeal to you. Thickinator says that's a fantastic Ridley chop. Hope to see Hope to see some more Nintendo villains or something else. So just anything. Hope to see anything is what Thickinator says. Thank you. Shadow Fox Cosplay says it's always great watching you and other customizers who inspire me to try my best at customs. The Jaunt by Stephen King is an amazing short story. It's okay. It's alright. The Jaunt is about teleportation across space in the future, and that the setup is that to teleport you get passed through another dimension, and they have to knock you out. They like sedate you before you go through this other dimension, because to experience it will drive you mad, and there's like a family who are going to go through it, and maybe one of them doesn't quite take the sedative quite right, and who knows what happens when they come out the other end. But it's all about it has a lot of, it's not really so much about them and what they're doing, it's really about how they got to that point, who invented it, and who, like, someone discovered it and then mysteriously went missing and their partner took the credit for it, kind of thing. So there's all this history behind this, the jaunt, the teleportation that they do in the future. And John's saying maybe the kids don't listen to rules aspect is what makes it so meaningful to me. Yes, let's just say the kids do not really do what they're told, or one of them. And it has completely expected consequences. It's kind of like, you see it coming so far off. It's kind of, it's kind of like a ghost house ride. What do you call them in America? We call them a ghost train here. The ghost train, you know what you're getting into, and you just sit there and you go around and things go, you're like, okay, I know what this is. I know where this is going. I can see it coming. Oh. Christopher says, I watched the Carnosaur series with friends years ago. It was all produced by Corman. The third is easily the best. They're all dumb, but the third is where they started having fun with it. I have only seen the first Carnosaur. I haven't watched any. I love Roger Corman as he's fascinating in interviews. His memory is so astounding. Like, he remembers the production of everything down to details, and he speaks in such a concise and very accurate and laid out way, with no real emotion to what he's saying, other than a strange sense of pride about how much he was able to do with so little money, and how creative he was in making multiple films with very little resource. He remembers that all so well and articulates it amazingly well. So he's very interesting as a producer, because he does things back to back. He films pretty much always films 2 movies back to back, reuses the sets for this, saves money on all of it. An amazing producer, but he's also a very interesting director, and he directed a series of films which are known as the Poe cycle, Corman's Poe cycle, where he made a series of Edgar Allan Poe movies with Vincent Price, and Vincent Price is my favourite actor. And the Poe cycle of films are what really brought me on to Vincent Price and made me fall in love with the guy's talents. And Yeah, so Corman directed, not just produced, but directed a lot of those. And they're amazingly stylish. Like, he's a penny pinching bastard. Like, not in an evil way. Like, he makes effective movies on a really low budget, which is astounding. He's completely amazing at doing that. But as a director as well, he's completely fascinating. So I really love his. But things like Humanoids from the Deep, I don't know if he directed that. I don't. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. But that's like, you can tell he's making that because he's like, okay, this is to make money. So he really has those films that he sort of cares about and he wants to make, which are examples are the Edgar Allan Poe cycle movies. The Poe cycle. Quick, Robin, to the Poe cycle. Never, never, never more. Never, never, never more. So yeah, he would do these like guaranteed money making movies, so that he could do. He would even he'd be like, okay, I want to make this other movie, but they're never going to fund me to do that. I'll make this schlocky nonsense, and during making that schlocky nonsense, which will make a profit, I will make this set, and that will. Then I will reuse them on this film that I actually want to make. So he's just such an interesting producer, director, and generally like a complete legend of cinema. So to me, he's more than these other guys, than directors that like uniformly make incredibly amazing arty movies, that are really great blockbusters, critically received well. I prefer someone like Roger Corman, who makes schlock so that he can then make stuff that he wants to make. And even when he makes schlock, there's an art to it, and he makes almost the accounting. He makes the producing of a movie into an art form as well. Thickinator says, what was your favourite game to play when you were young? There's been a bunch of them. If I could pick out a series or one, I would say Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. Christopher says, that might explain why there was a plot point in Carnosaur 3 that you think was completely forgotten about until a post-credit scene that pays it off. Still made arguably the best Fantastic Four film. There's a lot of, that, apart from like the special effects looking like shite and it being a bit, it's a decent enough film. It's not bad. And a Lone Wolf says, you got a favourite Romero film? For me, nothing tops Day of the Dead. Oh, zombie effects are top notch. I don't like Day of the Dead at all. I think it's a huge disappointment after Dawn. I think Dawn of the Dead is maybe the best one for me. Day of the Dead, I find that George Romero often falls into this trap of, he did it with Land of the Dead as well, and there's several of his other films where he seems drawn to having military characters who have gone off the rails and are kind of like mercenary rogue, and they just shout and they're really aggressive and like they're hyper masculine, and there's none of the military training or strategy to the character. And I find that he often does that in Day of the Dead, there was this whole thing of almost the military and the science with the... Who's trapped in the middle? I feel like it's journalists or something are trapped in the middle. And I don't think he has a handle on either the military or the science. And I don't think that clash works as well as it could. The military, they're just both completely crazy and it doesn't work. I understand that there should be an aspect of them being crazy because the world's obviously come to an end as they know it. But I feel like there should be more grounding in... There's more story in someone being the military versus science in that situation, rather than those, like, essentially mad scientist versus mad military man. I feel like there needed to be more variety in those characters for that to work. Effects are really good, as you say, but plot-wise, it just didn't do anything for me, and Dawn of the Dead really works much better in sort of, that whole... angle that, the consumerism, the zombies are drawn to what they were drawn to in life for no good reason, that it sort of was like, oh my, that inventiveness of, wow, they're just us. They're just us with all the, with everything stripped away. They're just us at our most pathetic. Like, oh my god, that's remarkable. And there was no new angle to that in Day of the Dead. They didn't take that any further. In fact, they kind of put it back the way that not only are they just us, like Bub makes it like, oh, okay, well, they are us. They're not us at our most pathetic. There's, like, he still functions as a human. It just, Day of the Dead doesn't do anything for me. Essentially, I was disappointed with it as a kid, even then, and I've watched it several times since then, thinking I'll get something from it this time, and I've never. Loved The Raven. Says sorry, I can't pronounce your name. David Siu. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis the wind and nothing more. I've forgotten a lot of it, but the movie The Raven, with Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff, is amazing. Amazing movie. So if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into those old stars, just to see Vincent Price and Peter Lorre going off, it's a comedy. It's a comedy, early 60s horror movie based on Poe. It's really a Doctor Strange film, to be honest. The first Doctor Strange movie is The Raven by Roger Corman. Ashton Jane, hello. He says, hello Craig, I was wondering if at a point during the sketching phase of your Ridley custom, were you going to incorporate any of his cyborg-like characteristics? I did think about that, but Ridley, he didn't really get those cyborg parts until Metroid Prime, when he was Meta Ridley, I believe they called him. And really that was just... I don't really like that. And he sheds them later on anyway, in the Metroid Prime series. But I just like the plain, the original sort of concept for Ridley, just the pure alien dragon man pirate pterodactyl thing. like the technology, adding the technology into it is, I don't know where it really, what it really adds to the character. It kind of, yeah, I don't know. I'm not, like, I'm really not into Ridley that much. I know that I've put Ridley at the front of this project, but really Ridley was, I was making Ridley because I was making Mother Brain. Mother Brain was really what I was interested in, so I didn't put a whole lot of thought into Ridley. Mother Brain is where my interest lies. She's the villain. She's, if I was to make the top 3 Nintendo villains, it would be Ganon, Bowser, and Mother Brain. Ridley has kind of become the face of Metroid. He's kind of like the just because he's, Mother Brain just, you know, sits there. She's almost too big a villain for Samus to deal with. He can't really get down into a fight with Mother Brain too much. And because Ridley appeared in Smash Brothers, like, Smash, that's the end of it. Smash, this looks like Smash. You should make this person from Smash. No, go fuck yourself. So yeah, the focus on Ridley was a bit of a red herring here. Like, he's taken a lot of my time and effort, but what I was actually wanting to make was Mother Brain, and Ridley's an accessory to Mother Brain because she's not going to move or do anything really, and he's just going to be sort of perched on top, I guess. So, or off to the side or something. So he's kind of an accessory to Mother Brain. That's really where I've come at this project from. So I didn't put too much thought into sketching out Ridley. The only sketch I did was of his face. I'll see if I can. I've probably shown it on here before. Do I still have it? So this is the only sketch I did of Ridley. I tend to sketch other things out quite a lot, but that was it. I'll show it here actually. It's easier to see. That was all I did, just because I wanted to, like, his body was always just going to be like bits of the alien stuck together. I was never going to do that much with him. I wasn't going to tell any story. I just wanted to in his head was what I was going to have to sculpt by myself. So it was really the head was the only thing that I really focused on, and that's where are we? So it's kind of. So that's really the only design aspect I did with Ridley was that. Everything else was just really decided by what figure parts I had available or could get, which was the Rhino alien. So you see, I really haven't sculpted anything on the rest of him. So yeah, strictly limited to his head. Shadow Fox Cosplay says, I did do a review for the Black Series Deluxe Boba Fett and the 50th Anniversary Shore Trooper back in May for May the 4th. Cool. We'll check that out on your channel. Thank you. Hello, Kip McLeod. Have you just woken up? Kirk Holland says, Mel Brooks films. Those are good. I enjoy some Mel Brooks films. Blazing Saddles. Wow. Young Frankenstein. Those are good ones. Christopher says, Corman's only 95. Let's get him to make a Doctor Strange Schlockfest while he still can. That would be fun. Okay, right. So I've been on here for an hour and 35 minutes. And I've done, well, I was going to paint the teeth. I can probably paint the teeth on Ridley quickly, because if I don't do it now, I'll leave it till later on in the week, and then I want to do something better and it'll never get done. Okay, so let's paint his teeth. Is this what we're going to do? Do we want to do his teeth? Yes. Clouds has been helping a friend renovate his garden, I guess, is how we could say that. So he's obviously feeling like a butch construction worker, and because of that he's had to go for a very masculine lie down afterwards. Like someone from a Dracula novel. Shadow Fox Cosplay says, also I tried my hand at Gasland's Mad Max style Hot Wheels, so that's mainly going to be on my channel. That sounds interesting. I don't know much about model cars. Strangely though, when we go to the toy stores, the my husband always looks at the Hot Wheels toys. I'm really not sure. I've asked him about it like several times, like, are you interested in those? Like, why do you always check them out? But getting information out of that guy is it's a losing battle. Just like, oh, no. Are you interested in them? No. Why are you looking at them? Oh, just because. My God. Oh, I love you. It's really the conversations we have that really make me love him so much more. I was thinking though I should get him on the live stream. I don't know what we would do beyond make out with each other, which we wouldn't do because that stopped years ago. I don't know, like play video games together or just get him on here, and it's Pride Month after all. It's about time I finally had a gay person on this channel. I feel like when I'm here, this channel's just too straight. So we need to get it up with that enormous Mary. Right, let that sit for just a minute. The Ginger Knot says he wants you to buy him some without having to ask. Could be. I didn't think of that. He's a video game person, you know. I just don't think he has a toy mind like we were talking about much earlier. I just don't think he has absolutely no interest in action figures or like physical merchandise really. So yeah. but maybe I should. Maybe we'll go to Smith's this evening. I'll take him to Smith's in my week off and we will go look at the Hot Wheels. But do you like any of these? Well, Daddy's buying you one. Oh my god. Oh. And he just dropped his knees right there. Vomit on the floor. Colin says Love Shack. Love Shack, baby. Here comes the bride. She's as big as a whale, and her dress is on sale. As always says, I've already knew you were gay from the beginning. Blame your logo for that. You know, my logo wasn't especially meant to be super gay. I didn't really realise it until it happened. So my original idea for how my logo animation would be, it would be, because my favourite comic story was the Infinity Gauntlet, it would be my name with the rainbow infinity gems circling around it, and then they would fall to the background and splat like paint. So it would be infinity gem colours. And then I was like, when I saw it like laid out as paint splatters, I was like, oh, of course, it's a gay rainbow. So it's like, okay, well, that works on 2 levels. Righty, let's see. I think he's looking good. So I do have some more details to do, but I think Ridley's pretty much there, to be honest. I'll have to do like I think he has to be kind of have some kind of varnish on him to bring it all together. I need to work out the eyes as well, make them a bit better, but there we go. I think he's really getting there. I think he's close to being finished. The Mother Frog says, hey Craig, glad I got to the stream on time. Have you heard of this new anime on Netflix? Trece, based on Filipino folklore. No, I haven't heard of that. I don't tend to watch too much anime, but folklore's always interesting to me, so give that a look. Hopefully it's on UK Netflix. The Ginger Knot says, coming along nicely. What a beast, thank you very much. And Olin Wolf says, wonder what it's like for those folk that don't have an addiction to shrunken down versions of fictional characters that you can gawk at on a shelf before quickly moving on to the next one. Must be a nightmare. What a nightmare to live that boring life, huh? But okay, I think that's me done for the day. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Do hit the like button if you haven't already. If you don't want to, fine, go fuck yourself. Kurt Collins says, Craig, your voice is resounding in the soundboard of my guitar. It's crazy. I live in music. It's just I am the muse. What the fuck was I saying? What was the trash you talk, Craig? Yeah, thank you for joining me and Ridley and Mother Brain. We're off work for a week. Yeah. So I'm gonna go and enjoy it. And hopefully I'll be back next week with some, who knows what I'll be doing next week. I expect Ridley will be done. That's what I'm saying to myself now. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Mother Brain will hopefully be a bit more painted, a bit more together. I think we're nearing the end of this one, and then I can do like a 2-minute video going, hey everyone, look at this Ridley and this Mother Brain I got. And then I can get loads of people saying, oh, I wish you had done a full build video for this. And I'll be like, there's hours and hours of customizing live, but you're too lazy to go watch it. But you guys who are here right now are not, and that's why I love you. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been great to have you here, as it always is. Thank you for keeping me company, most of all for chatting away to me, listening to my crap, and fast forwarding it if you're living in the future. Oh, here I am. Bam. No, let's do it this way. Yep, thank you all for joining me. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Take care of yourselves, look after each other, enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy the rest of your day. Most importantly, pour on the power. Bye. Toulou.